All right, guys, welcome back to this special edition of Timberwolves Talk, to say the least. I'm Chris.
And I'm Peyton.
And yeah, if you haven't watched before, we do these once or twice a week, usually recapping the previous games the Timberwolves have played. But obviously, with the breaking news last night of Ryan Saunders being fired and Chris Finch being hired,
He wasn't
we
fired. He was dismissed.
dismissed. But yeah, we're going to be breaking that down today. So I guess we'll start out with Ryan Saunders. Ryan Saunders was dismissed in quotations. What do you have to say about that?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Ryan for his time as the Timberwolves, and I just kind of like to put it out there that I've never really been a big Ryan hater. Just with the situation that he's been put in, I mean, he was dealt a losing deck of cards.
He was dealt the losing hand to begin with.
I mean, you can't. Anyone in their right minds can't say that he was in a terrible situation. Now, he might not have been. He wasn't. Let's be real. He wasn't the best head coach. He was a pretty bad head coach. But you put anyone in that situation and try to expect them to succeed, it's going to be pretty hard. So that's where I stand with it. And the timing, I guess, is a little questionable with me. I think if you're going to do it, why not do it earlier or at least wait until the All-Star break or the trade deadline or something? It just seemed a little random with the timing. But I have no problem with the move for the Timberwolves, and I'm excited for the future.
My opinion, honestly, is pretty similar to Peyton's. If you guys have been watching the show previously, you've known that we actually wanted to give Ryan a chance with the healthy roster. But through the past few games, it's been a little rough seeing them be in every single game and lose at the last minute because the offense just goes away. And you can't expect to close out a game if you can't score in the last 4 minutes of a game. So I mean, that's Ryan's side of the ball. He's an offensive coach in parentheses. Vanderpool is the defensive coach. So obviously we're ranked 28th in offensive efficiency right now, and we're one of the worst offenses in the league when we shouldn't be. We should be one of the best offensive in the league with our weapons. So
we're supposed to be an offensive minded. We're supposed to be like our offense is supposed to be way above our defense. Like our offense is supposed to carry us, and when we're ranked 28th in the NBA, like it's a business, man. It's a business. That's what you have to look at it. It's not fun in games, man. It might be just a game, but this is a $1 million business. And if you're
$1 million business,
you think the Timberwolves are a $1 billion business?
Timberwolves are worth over 1.3 billion right now.
The facts guy, he's got me. But if you're not performing, you're not going to keep your job, and that's just how it is. And I think Ryan knows that, and I think every single person with a level head knows that this was something that was going to happen, and you might as well just rip off the Band-Aid instead of just letting that wound just fester up and just get infected like it already is.
Yeah, the timing was a little interesting. Obviously, you would expect this to happen before the season starts in the offseason, or you would expect it to happen after the season, because normally you don't see outside hires being brought in as head coaches in the middle of a season. That's just really because usually teams don't allow it. They have to grant permission for you to even speak to their coaches during the season. So that was done by, the Raptors were gracious enough to not keep, because obviously they know they love Chris Finch, they love him as a coach, and they were nice enough to let him explore head coaching opportunities. So that's the sign of a really good organization that puts people first. Yeah. And allows opportunity to be brought upon. So the Raptors did a really respectable thing, in my opinion, for letting Chris Finch go out and try to get that head coaching job. Because I mean, over 30 years of coaching, he's far overqualified to be an assistant coach at this point. He's been searching for a head coaching job for the last 7 years. So it's really nice to see him get one. But back to the Ryan Saunders thing. I guess it's important to get the facts right in this situation, because so much is being put out right now on Twitter and everything. And even Peyton and I were talking about it last night, and we said we wanted to bring you guys the hard facts right now. The facts are presented by team personnel in interviews.
From what we know right now at I don't need, my phone's not even here. What time is it? Just to give them a time on this interview, because like
right now it's 1:22 on the 22nd
Standard Time. And so something crazy could happen while we're filming this and we wouldn't even know. But from what we know right now, that's what we're going to try to give you. And we're going to try to give you the most factual information that you can possibly get. So
the first thing with this is this coaching search has been happening for months now. And everyone has made that clear. Chris Finch and the Raptors have made that clear. They granted permission months ago for Chris Finch to talk to other teams, especially the Timberwolves. This is Gerson's guy. He knew it was his guy. I think it was just a matter of Glenn Taylor letting him pull the trigger or not on the Ryan situation. And we know the game that sparked the decision to allow the firing to happen was the Raptors game, in which we allowed 11-0 run when we were up by 6 with 4 minutes left. So that was the breaking point.
Which is funny because that's Chris Finch's offensive team that he runs, and that was one of the worst offensive games I've seen from a opposing team of the Timberwolves, and that was his offense. So,
it's a good sign though. He propelled an 11-0 run.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah, so that's a little good into it. But yeah, so Nick Nurse said he knew 36 hours prior to last night when the hiring happened that Chris Finch was going to be the new Timberwolves coach. He knew the Raptors just played the Sixers last night, and he said he knew that was Chris Finch's last game. Everyone was made note of it. So this didn't happen. There's everything going over Twitter that like, oh, Timberwolves, such a bad organization. They fire their coach and somehow just find one magically 5 minutes later. When really, this vetting has been happening for months now, and he already knew he was going to be the coach for a couple days. So those are some of the facts to start with.
Yes. But
those are the main facts.
Yeah, but then that also opens up to speculation. How long did Ryan know about this? Did he know that 36 hours before that these were going to be his last games, or was he maybe were they waiting till after the game maybe? So if he would have pulled out a win in that Knicks game, would he have been fired anyway? That's a big question that I have that I want to know. If he would have came back from that 21 point deficit, won the game, there's no way they could have fired him. That's what
but this is what the facts point towards. So we played. Was it last night we played the Knicks, right?
Last night we played the Knicks.
Last night we played the Knicks, but apparently he was made apparent that he was going to be the head coach 36 hours prior to that. So you got to think, and they said the Raptors game was the last straw. So that's probably when the firing.
So Ryan knew.
He knew. Ryan probably. I would
tell.
This is just.
You could tell something was off.
Yeah, we'll be very clear in when we're speculating and when
speculation.
So I'm speculating Ryan probably knew in that Knicks game that no matter what he did, he was probably going to be fired just because of the timeline of 36 hours.
Yeah,
I would say
that all adds up on the timeline. And you also can point toward maybe Cat, and for sure, actually, Cat, this is speculation, but Cat probably knew as well that Ryan was done. Because you're not going to make a decision like that without telling your superstar. So when Cat made his comments that he was here to stay, he obviously, I guess, he was saying like, because if he didn't say that, people are going to be like, all right, so Cat is Ryan's guy, or Ryan is Cat's guy. And if he's gone, maybe Cat's going to leave. So Cat had to put it out there that I want to stay here. I want to build my legacy here. Just to so that wouldn't even be speculated.
Which is it's very comforting to hear as a Timberwolves fan, obviously, because that tweet, or well, it was a post game press conference, but it was very good to hear that, because that pretty much entails that he's on board for the firing and that he wants to keep going with the organization. So we're all really happy about that. That means Cat's for sure, at least here through his contract, and that's good news. That's really good news to hear that he's going to, the team without Cat is nothing. You've seen these. Yeah. The reason we've been in these games is because of Cat's fourth quarters. So it's great to hear.
You go.
I was just going to say too, I don't know. There's also like some speculation on how Ryan's going to get home from New York. And, we there hasn't been anything about how he got home, but Darren Wolfson, we've had him on the podcast a couple times, thinks he's just going to have to take a commercial flight back home. So,
that is tough. And another thing I want to touch in, a lot of people are questioning our organization and saying that that's a shady move. That's like dumping your girlfriend and then having a new girlfriend like a day later. Like obviously there's something shady going on, and I just wouldn't say it's shady. I'd say that's just the business of the NBA and any business you're in. Like, you're not going to fire your guy unless you have a backup plan.
Yeah, the shady part to me, there's no shadiness. This is just how firings and hirings go. Like
you can't have a good firing. Like you can't have like a a firing,
Yeah,
and they're like, oh,
like
that's the way to fire a guy. Like everyone's happy. Like
the only
obviously,
thing that was bad about it was they told I think Glenn went on the Glenn did an interview with Darren Wolfson on his Score North podcast, in which Glenn said he there's no thought of firing Ryan. Like Ryan's going to be the coach for the rest of the season. So I think that was probably that was the unkept promise in the situation. But guys, the amount of times teams franchise make promises that aren't kept there's probably hundreds of times each year. Like it's just the way it goes. It's like the Texans saying they're not going to trade Deshaun Watson right now, when in all reality Deshaun Watson is getting traded.
yeah, it's just
The way it goes.
I mean, okay, so do you want Glenn Taylor to say, actually, yeah, we're looking into different coaches right now, and we're probably gonna fire Ryan by the end of the month. Like, obviously, he's not gonna say that. He just doesn't want
Yeah.
to have any. He doesn't want to like stir the pot at all. So unless it was 100%, he didn't want to say like. He didn't want to like just have any speculation. So I guess that's just what he said, and it might have been shady. But that's the only thing that's really shady. Them talking and bringing a new coach so early. I don't see that as shady at all. I see that as business. And as a Timberwolves fan, that's what we want. We want them to be confident with this guy. Like obviously, if they're gonna go out and hire a guy from a different team on a multi-year deal, this is their guy. Like this is the guy they wanted. And I don't want them to wait until next season to try to get him. Like
Or even the All-Star break. That was the other thing fans were mad about, is why not give Ryan till the All-Star break to accumulate some more losses? And first of all, Peyton and I are both heavily on the train of we want to win. We're sick of seeing losses. We're sick of seeing top draft picks. We want to win. So I don't like tanking is my last priority. Plus we've been through the NBA lottery. We don't have to do it again. Like countless people have, commented on our videos talking about the NBA lottery, and
it's just not even worth talking
it's
about.
not even worth talking about.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. So we want to win. So I like this move. Bring in the new system right now. Let them have, a couple experiment games. Like this is going to be new to everyone. This is like the Clippers game of last year. It's going to be new to everyone. And over the All-Star break, that's when you dive deep into it and learn the offense. And you're only going to have about a week to do it, but at least you have that break to do it. Because if you hired him at the beginning of the All-Star break, that leaves no room for games to be played with him and for anything to happen. Like it leaves out game adaptability. You're not going to be able to. There's going to be able to be mistakes made in these games coming up, and mistakes inside the system. But if you just waited till the All-Star break, you're going to have to wait to learn the whole new system on paper, and won't even be able to try it out until the first game to see if it works and get the kinks out. So I like this.
Yeah, I like it as well. And I just don't like, why wait? If you know what you're gonna do, you know what you want to do, why keep postponing it? Just if it works out like this, and this is how Gerson saw it working out, and his guy was available, and he got the go from Glenn Taylor. I'm almost seeing it as kind of just a long preseason for next year, because this year, I mean, I don't know. I don't think we're gonna make the playoffs. I don't think we have that big of a chance. But let's get some wins. Let's start building up the culture. Let's get everyone used to this new season.
Get everyone excited for the next season.
Seriously, yeah. And then we don't have to do this all next offseason. We can get all the kinks out this season. And then next year, we're all used to the system and we can just go. There's going to be no learning curve. If we would have hired him in the offseason, then there would be a few games where all right, now it's the learning curve. They got to get this offense. But now they have this whole rest of the season to do it. Maybe get a few good guys in the offseason, then we can just go next season.
Like I don't know about you guys in the comments and watching the video, but the Raptors offense the past 10 games has looked like one of the best offenses in the league. They're ranked, even with their slow start, they're ranked 8th in offensive efficiency right now. And you take away that slow start, they're top 5. So I don't know about you guys, but I would like to see this team run a Raptors like offense. I think that would be a great change instead of just high ball picks and no one moving.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I think everyone in the Minnesota fan base should be excited because the culture, I think, is changing finally. I think Gerson's wiping out the old Timberwolves. We just got to wait for Glenn to sell the team, and then the culture has officially changed. But Gerson's finally making all his changes. He already got his players. Now he's got his coach. I'm excited.
This is why we brought Gerson in. This is his team now. This is his system, and now there's no more excuses. There's no more, oh, he doesn't have his coach. Oh, he doesn't have the right players. He's got everything, and now he can go to work. And there's a reason why we brought him in to change this franchise around, and now he's got everything lined up. So
Yeah, so I'd say so. Now we laid all the facts out for you guys. You know the background now. So I think what I want to do is talk about Ryan Saunders first. Let's get our opinions on what went wrong. What went wrong first of all with Ryan Saunders?
all right. So do you want me to start it off with
Yeah,
what I so with Ryan, um I just think it was a bad situation. And I think that it was a dream come true for him, man. As a kid, he always wanted to be the head coach of the Timberwolves. But I think it just happened a little too early. I think that he wasn't ready for it. And I think he knew that. And I think he from what I hear about Ryan, man, he's just seems like one of the most stand-up dudes that there is. So for Dane Moore lost his job last year because of the pandemic. And he said before he even told his parents he lost his job, Ryan called him and had a 45-minute conversation with him about it. Like that's just a stand-up guy. And I mean, you just hate to see this happen to him, but you know he's going to be a fighter. You know he's going to come back from this. He's not out of the NBA. He's going to get a job. He's proven himself, and he's probably going to be a head coach down the line someday, I think.
yeah, and I couldn't agree more with you. Everything we've heard from Ryan Saunders over the even when he wasn't a head coach, even when Flip and Tibbs were still the coach. I mean, Ryan was like everyone loved Ryan in the organization. All the players loved him. All the coaches loved him. And that's the reason he even got the opportunity to
Yep.
be the head coach in the first place was because everyone saw how much the players liked him. And I think it's too bad because he was a good player development coach. I mean, he was in Washington training Bradley Beal and John Wall. I mean, you can't ask for two better players in their primes. And now he helped Cat get to where he is today too. So I think there's no doubt in my mind that he'll find another job very quickly, and it won't be a head coaching job for probably 10 to 15 years down the line. It it's just the way it is, man. You got to work your way up. You're 34 years old, and
Yeah.
you're one of the youngest coaches in North American sports history. First of all,
Yeah.
you are the youngest coach right now. Well, was,
It was.
but I'm excited for Ryan's future. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. He's a good basketball mind, but right now it is a business, and the Timberwolves need to see winning because their franchise has never seen winning besides 2004 and 2017. So
And just one thing I want to touch on, man, it kind of felt like he was in an abusive relationship here. I mean, he couldn't do anything right. No matter what he did, the fans are always just coming for his head. I mean, it honestly for him, it probably just feels kind of like a relief. Like he's just kind of like, all right, like
fresh start somewhere.
this nightmare is over. I can finally just relax. Like I don't have to worry about losing my job every single night. Like I don't have to go into a game. Imagine that burden. Like you know that the organization is looking for a new head coach and you're supposed to go out there and try to win games. Are you kidding me?
It's tough.
And your best two players aren't even in there. Like it's just a terrible situation. And I bet right now he's just like, yeah, it's gonna hurt for a couple days, but he knows that
Yeah,
this is what's best for him.
he had obviously had a couple days to prepare too for the firing. So I mean, I do like Ryan. I do. I wish we could keep him in the organization as a player development coach, but it's just sadly you going from a head coach, it's like going from a boss to an employee. It just doesn't work at that firm because like you've already earned your respect as a boss, so it'd be hard to see yourself
You can't
answering
go
to
back
somebody.
down. No, it's
You can't go
impossible.
back.
Because
You can't go back down the totem pole.
imagine going to practice and like having to listen to a guy do your job. Like, no, that just doesn't work like that. And people that like I saw someone on Twitter being like, it's a shame that the Timberwolves didn't like reassign him within the organization. I'm like,
Probably did not. He
he
would
did not.
deny that even if they
He
did.
probably didn't want to. That's like getting cut from the team and them asking you to be a manager.
Yeah,
Like
it
obviously,
is.
that's exactly what it is. And some people, sure, but most people with pride, they're not going to want to do that. And he's just going to want to get on with his career. And he probably is going to want to get on with his career far away from Minnesota because now he can finally be out of his father's shadow. Now he can go do his own thing.
Yeah, and obviously, his roots are in Minnesota, which is tough. So that's just the way it goes. Though he's gonna hopefully relocate somewhere warm. Maybe I would
Yeah.
love that for him. Go somewhere warm. Maybe try to get on the Lakers or Clippers staff somewhere.
No, I'd say take the year off, man. He's making millions of dollars. Take the dang year off.
Yeah, you know,
Take a
he
vacation
deserves it, man. He deserves a mental rest from this the horrific season that has been taking
from
place.
us. I mean, we've ridiculed him,
Yeah.
not unfairly. Like he
No,
deserves,
we've been one of the fairest to Ryan out of everyone.
but for sure, like I mean, he just needs to get far away from it. Not even think about basketball. I wouldn't, if I was him, I wouldn't watch a Timberwolves game the rest of the year.
So yeah, I think the assessment of the Ryan Saunders era is he was almost forced into this position because of his father, which is unfair to him and unfair to the fans.
And then he was judged by his father, by his father's legacy.
Legacy.
He could
Yeah.
never get out of his father's shadow. That's the problem. It's kind of like Michael Jordan's sons. Like they're always just going to be compared to him, no matter what happens to them.
Yeah, and I mean, it's tough. It's tough having a successful dad. That's why it's going to be so tough for Bronny, I think, trying to make an NBA career, man, because your dad's one of the argued greatest of all time players. So it's going to be hard to live up to expectations.
Yeah, you rarely see sons.
No, you really don't.
I mean Curry, I guess. Ken Griffey. Like there's not many sons that end up being as good as their dads.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just the way it goes. So I guess moving on. Well, first I wanted to say too, what do you want to see the Timberwolves do from here on out to the next offseason and to the beginning of the next season?
So yeah, I kind of touched on it already. I want to see him experiment. I want to see give the reins to Finch and just let him do what he needs to do. He needs to get used to being a head coach in the NBA. He's never done it before. He's been a G League head coach. He's been an international head coach. He's never been a head coach. So, and I think he's really walking into the most perfect situation that you can be as a head coach. He's kind of our savior. Everyone's
A lot of
looking up to him.
leeway.
A lot of leeway. And he's got, I mean, 2 top 8 rookies. I would say Jaden McDaniels is a top 8 rookie.
He'll make either I think he's going to make all rookie second team for sure.
Oh, he will.
Yeah,
I mean, NBA ranked him number 10, but I think he's top 8. And then you got Anthony Edwards, who's top 2. So you got that young talent. You got a top 15, 20 to 15.
When healthy, people call him a top 15 big in the league, or a top 15 player in the league.
Top 3 big in the league.
Yes.
So
I mean,
and then you got a potentially superstar capable point guard in D'Lo
that needs just revitalization in an offense that works for him.
And then you got the shooter Malik, who's potentially, I guess, on the trade wire, but I don't believe that. You have Malik. And people are wanting you to tank. So you are in a win-win-win. If you start winning games, people are going to be happy. But if you don't have success, people are going to be like, I mean, look at this.
Well, yeah, it'll be like Ryan Saunders first, after Tibbs got fired in the middle of the season, he just had the rest of the season to just play it out with the team. But Finch, he can do whatever he wants this season, and I'm not going to care if we lose or if we win, he's our savior. If we lose, it's experimenting, it's people learning the offense. And you saw, how long it took this Timberwolves team to finally start meshing together since that humongous trade. And I think they have. I think they finally built chemistry. Because, I mean, you look at these past 6 games, guys. We played some very good teams. We played the Clippers, Lakers, Raptors. The Knicks are a playoff team this year. We're going to have to play the Bucks tomorrow. Those are really good teams at the moment. And we were in every single one of those games. And you can make the argument that we should have won every single one of those games at a point. So, I mean,
this has been the best stretch, even though we're on a losing streak. This has been the best stretch of the Timberwolves all year, I'd say. We've been playing so well. And I mean, it hasn't been pretty all the time, but there's been some amazing quarters of basketball, amazing halves of basketball, amazing dunks. I mean, we didn't even touch on that Anthony Edwards dunk, but we'll talk about that later.
We can talk about that later. But I think the last domino that needs to fall in order for the culture to finally be changed is Kevin Garnett and his crew buying the team. And obviously there is insane beef with Kevin Garnett and Glenn Taylor. We could get into that for an hour.
That could be a separate video.
Yeah, it's basically, they hate each other. KG was promised coaching or ownership after, and Glenn gave it to Thibodeau and Scott Layman. So that's the whole ordeal with that. But I think if KG can buy the team, and I know we'll keep it in Minnesota, first of all, we get to retire KG's number, which will finally have a real
Finally.
retired number. Besides Flip Saunders and sadly Malik Sealy, who passed during the season. But that would be cool just to have our greatest player in history own our organization, and he has the mentality. He has the winning mentality, which I think is something Glenn Taylor has never had throughout his ownership. He's not a basketball mind.
No.
So I think that's the last domino that needs to fall. And I think hopefully the team, once COVID slows down a little bit and prices, it's tough because you got to think of the economy right now trying to buy a basketball team. It's hard to sell and buy because everyone's trying to buy low and Glenn's trying to sell high. So it's tough because you don't want to sell your organization for an undervalued number, but it needs to happen this offseason in order for things to start sloping up. So I really, that's my biggest domino I want to fall.
Yeah, but I mean, I think for now we can be happy with what's happening.
Oh yeah, this is
Like,
a celebratory episode for sure.
yeah, so I mean, so now that we're past Ryan, I mean, I guess we just want to say thank you to Ryan.
Thank you to
Wish him
Ryan.
the best. But there's a little elephant in the room that a lot of people are angry about. Is Vanderpool not getting the interim head coaching position? And for me, at least, I think that's silly. I think it's silly as a Timberwolves fan that you would want that. And I know that he's probably a great guy. He's probably a great coach. But I just that would just be just a pause in the process. That would just be it would just wouldn't make any sense. If you can go get your guy right now, you go do that. You're not going to wait this year with Vanderpool as the interim when you know you're not going to hire him on a long-term deal. And
Yeah.
I think for anyone that just doesn't make any sense.
So what my opinion on that is, they've had Chris Finch in the works for a while, and obviously that's the guy Gerson wants. He wants to change Minnesota's culture into that Houston Rockets type culture of making the playoffs every year and trying to win a chip. So if you keep Vanderpool as head coach, is that just keeping the same? That's keeping the same energy I think that we have at the moment in the locker room still there. I think if you bring in a new face and a new personality, that's when culture shifts. And I think it's good because Vanderpool right now, as is, I would label him an associate head coach for the reason of he runs the defense and Chris Finch is going to run the offense. So I look at those two. Obviously, Chris Finch is going to have the final say, but they can coexist and both be head coaches in their own realm. So it's not like Vanderpool is losing anything. Honestly, at the moment, he's probably gaining a lot of responsibility of, relaying to Fitch, like what's been happening, giving
Yep.
him info,
Yep.
team info, players. He's going to have a huge job still in this organization. I hope we keep him on the coaching staff in the next few years too, because I really like him. Our defense, guys, has been surprisingly good for some reason this year. Out of everything we thought this defense was going to be,
It's
it's been brighter than the offense.
but it's
And
still
we found
bottom third of the league.
yeah, and that that can be fixed though. I think that can be fixed. And we found a couple really good defensive players in Vandy, and McDaniels is the best defensive rookie at the moment and one of the best wing defenders in the league. So we have the talent. It's just we need the culture shift. We need the new faces in. We owe it to Gerson to give him what he needs and what he wants. We owe him an opportunity, and this is his opportunity.
For sure. And yeah, just like the interim, like that's what happened with Ryan. He was the interim head coach, but
And
we
then they
just
just
kept him on.
extended him.
So would another interim head coach just I don't know. It just I get people want to see Vanderpool be the head coach, but it just doesn't make any sense when in the offseason anyway we were going to go get a new guy.
Yeah. And his like I said, I think his job title actually is associate head coach right
Yes.
now. Guys, he's he's an integral part of this coaching staff. He runs the defense. That is huge. So he's going to have a big role going forward. He's always going to have a big role. That's not going to be taken away with him at all. But getting to Chris Finch, we can I'd like to hear your opinion on the hiring, and if you like it, what are your thoughts on it?
So for me, I didn't know anything about Chris Finch until last night, and I know you do. I knew you kind of knew who he was. You kind of knew he was a potential candidate for the job.
Yeah.
So I'm coming at this from a completely outsider thing. From what I've read about him, it just seems like he is an offensive minded guru. He's very smart offensively. And when you combine that with our roster, I think that's going to be a great fit. And I was reading about him in Denver and how a lot of people credit him for Jokic and Murray really coming out and becoming the superstars that they are. And when you kind of look at Cat and Jokic, you can compare them. And then Murray and like Anthony Edwards, you can compare them. So I think he has a lot of experience with the type of roster that we have. So yeah, I'm excited, and he's a winner, man. He won the D League championship. He has head coaching experience, just not in the NBA. And you look at his the recent franchises he's been with; those are all winning franchises. Maybe not the Pelicans, but the rest of them are all like organizations that know how to win. And we need to bring that into the Minnesota Timberwolves. We need to bring winning in and change the culture. So I'm
Yeah.
happy with it. I'm happy.
I same here. You know, he coached his coaching career I think did start in Great Britain actually, and then he was a coach in Belgium for a little bit. Finally made his way into the NBA realm when he was a D League coach. He won D League Coach of the Year, won a D League championship. That's where he kind of got his start into the NBA, and that's where he arrived at the Pelicans, who at the time were a very good roster. They had Drew Holiday, they had Anthony Davis, and that's when DeMarcus Cousins was an MVP candidate. So he is credited for a lot of AD's development, a lot of that team's success on offense, and he kind of made that Twin Towers idea work
Yeah.
offensively there for them. As you said, he's also with the Nuggets too, the 2017 Nuggets, which were the team we beat in the play-in game to go to the playoffs. And that team, though, was kind of the start of, you could tell that Nuggets team was going to be a perennial playoff team,
Yep.
that season. Um, Obviously, most recently with the Raptors, the offense, of course, is good. Anybody under Nick Nurse and anybody that Nick Nurse gives credit to, I trust wholeheartedly, because Nick Nurse, in my opinion, is the brightest coach in the NBA right now. I think he's the best coach in the NBA. So I mean, you saw Nick Nurse's parting interview. He's obviously not happy he lost Chris Finch, but he said he deserved the starting job. He deserves to be a head coach. So I'm extremely happy with the hire. It's Gerson's guy. He
Yeah.
coached in Houston for a little bit. And he's had success everywhere he's went. He's had a winning team legitimately everywhere he's went. So
And you
I would hope that wouldn't slow down now. I can hope he can bring us to a winning record eventually next season. But yeah, he's got a lot to work with. He's got the youngest roster in the NBA to make into something. He's got like 4 or 5 Anthony Davises, Jokic's, Murray's. He's got a lot of project players that he can really make something special of. So I'm really excited. Obviously, a lot of people wanted Kenny Atkinson because of the D'Lo connection. No, I think after hearing more and reading more about Chris Finch, even just last night, I knew a little bit about him before, as Peyton said, but I read deeply on him last night. He's my top candidate for sure.
Yeah, and it's just so exciting, man, to have something to be excited about. Because I was texting Chris right after the next game, and I was like, dude, I don't even know what to talk about on the next Timberwolves talk, because it's just the same shit every single game. Like I don't even there's no new topics we can talk about.
There's always, we go down early. There's a massive comeback.
And we
We
can't
take the
talk
lead and
about
we blow
Ricky
the game.
Rubio blowing the game because we've already talked about that 6 times. So like I was honestly like, I don't even know if we should have a Timberwolves talk because I don't know what to talk about. And then boom, the
It
Woj
was so out of the
bomb.
blue, dude. I thought it was fake when I got the notification. When I saw the Woj tweet, because I have his Twitter notifications on. I saw it on my phone while I was doing homework, and I'm like, wait, this actually, like, because no one thought he was gonna get fired this season. And it said Ryan Saunders has been dismissed from the Timberwolves. And I like the way they worded it though, too, the dismissed. I'm like, I was like, what does that mean? Like, does that mean he's gonna be like take a 2-week leave or what? What's gonna happen? But no, he's like, just say fired. Why do you have
Yeah.
to say dismissed?
Well, I love how they also posted a graphic like, "Thank you, Ryan." Imagine me getting fired from Big Guy's Barbecue for being late or something, then they, like, post something on Facebook, "Thank you, Peyton, for your years of service. Happy to fire you."
Well,
Like,
that's more so like that would be you doing something like that'd just be you doing poorly at your job and them
yeah,
thanking you.
me sucking at serving and, like, just messing up, and then they're like, "Thank you for what you've done here." Like, what?
And
Like,
that
I don't.
that comment thread was not pro Ryan. I could tell you that that comment thread was a W chain. I think it's the kids call it these days.
Well, I'm just kinda happy now these fans, like, now they can shut up. Now they can't blame every freaking game on Ryan because he's gone.
True.
He's
True.
gone. You're done. Like, now what? How long does it take these fans to turn on Chris Finch? I saw someone, comment on the Timberwolves post of when they hired him that said, "I don't know about this guy, but I think we should fire him already." And I thought that was funny because that's basically what it's gonna be. If he starts losing games, everyone's gonna jump ship already, and that's just why I hate the fan base of the
Yeah,
Timberwolves.
you know, I think they made the fan base like this though. In
Yeah.
in their defense, they like Minnesota sports guys. If you're not from Minnesota or don't like any other team besides the Timberwolves, it's a story of like everyone gets super excited and everyone like the teams are great. Actually, the Vikings and the Twins are two of the most winningest organizations in their respective sports. But obviously, the Vikings have no championships to show for it. The Twins haven't won a championship since '91, and they have lost 18 straight playoff games. It's and obviously the Timberwolves just haven't haven't had anything. So it's tough. These fans won't need something, and
Yeah, they need something.
they need something, and hopefully one of these teams can bring them something because
I think
they don't deserve to be down like this.
I think Finchy can be the guy. I think that's what we're gonna call him going forward is Finchy, and, I'm excited because for us, I mean, we're a up and coming podcast. I don't know if I'd say up and coming, but we just started in this podcast game, and we plan on doing this for years to come. I don't know how long, but I could see myself doing this once a week for at least 10 years, man. Why
I
not?
mean,
Like,
I mean, Peyton and I would like
it's easy.
we're hoping to apply for internships with the Wolves. We're hoping to maybe do this as a job, hopefully. Like that's the whole point of, wanting to do this is like we want to do this as a job, but in order for us to do that, we need
a winning
people
team.
interested in the Wolves. So it's nice when like there's good vibes and good energy. So
That's
we're really happy right now.
Yeah, that's kind of the point I was going at. Like this is like it's a new era for the Wolves, but it's also kind of a new this is our era. This is the Basshole era of the Wolves. Like
Yeah.
this is when we plan on blowing up or starting up. This is it right now. So like for me, it's just very exciting to see something positive finally happen. And
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, that was the that was the giant news last night, but I guess the news that kind of got left behind is the New York Knicks. So I guess we love
well,
recapping the game. So let's do one for the sake of Ryan Saunders and Ryan Saunders' memory. Let's recap the Knicks game.
well, even before that, let's go to a positive Ryan Saunders moment and something that he had nothing to do with, but it was still was a positive thing while he was the head coach. The Anthony Edwards dunk
Oh man.
might be the best dunk I have ever seen in my whole life.
I saw a meme actually that last night and because obviously they were playing the Raptors and Chris Finch was there at the game and he's like that that's why Chris Finch chose to become the Timberwolves coach was that dunk right there. I mean, dude, that was
Dude,
one of the greatest dunks I've ever seen. When I saw and I can finally say I saw it live. Like I saw it live.
I didn't see it
I
live.
jumped out of my seat.
I,
He murdered him,
he it was like sometimes like when there's a poster, you're like, oh yeah, I don't know if that was a poster. Like, yeah, he kind of bodied him, but he didn't catch the full body.
dude. That
He
was full on murder.
and dude, the funny thing is, like he had so much room to spare. Like it wasn't like a Blake Griffin dunk where he threw it in. He
Oh,
easily
he was
dunked it.
high.
He could have put his elbow in the rim. Imagine
Yeah.
that. Imagine if he would have elbow dunked him and just held his like he could have done that. That's how high he was.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know what to say. Like, I'm sorry, Yuta. Like,
I don't.
I'm sorry.
It
Dude,
had
I
to be
think the
done.
most disrespectful part was too,
He
he
was laughing.
slams on him and just rides him. Did you see he rode him at the end? And then he looks up and just starts laughing.
Yeah,
Like,
he watched himself do the dunk on the big screen. That's hilarious. And dude, like this isn't the first dunk he's had. Like his dunk on McDermott, like that was almost like dunk of the year.
yeah, dude, he gets a poster the amount of missed posters him and Jaden McDaniels have too is another topic for discussion, but he at least gets one like every single game.
Yeah, I'd be scared to jump against him.
Yeah, he's a high. I wonder what his vertical is. It might be. It could be over 40. It's
Oh,
either high 30s or over 40s.
gotta be. Gotta be.
And
So yeah, that was in
sadly though we lost that game.
yeah, whatever. We don't that was the last era. This is the start of the new era, but I guess the last game of the old Timberwolves era.
This is sad. This is sad. This is
It's the
the
last
last
loss.
Ryan Saunders game.
This is the last fourth quarter lead we can ever talk about being blown. Maybe the last loss we'll ever talk about. So I guess we should give it the justice that it deserves. The New York Knicks. If you were gonna tell me that in the beginning of the season that we were gonna lose to the New York Knicks, I would say, yeah, you're probably right. But realistically, losing to the Knicks is tough. But they're actually a decent
Yeah.
team. That's what we forget. They're a good NBA team. They're not great, and I don't know if they'll make the playoffs, but
They're a great defensive team. I'll give them that. Third in defensive rating. They're a great defensive team.
I mean, it looks like the Timberwolves roster when we had Jimmy Butler. They even have frickin' Taj Gibson out there. Like, dude, Thibodeau, he literally like. So when I saw D Rose was traded to the Knicks, I didn't even like it didn't even cross my mind that Thibodeau was the head coach there, and I was like, why would they want D Rose? And then it clicked last night, and I was like, oh, that makes
That's why I
complete
want D
sense.
Rose.
He just follows him around. It's kind of creepy, honestly, at this point.
Yeah, I guess they just got the connection. But like, so this was a classic Timberwolves game. We went out on like an 8-0 run or an 8-2 run.
Yep.
Then we completely shut off and the Knicks dropped. I don't even know how many points in that quarter, but they eventually got up to a 21-point lead because our offense just stalled out. Then I don't know why we're such a good third freaking quarter team, but we we somehow come back from a 21 point deficit on like a 20 to I think it was a 23-5 run. We eventually take the lead in the fourth by 1 point. And that end game was classic. Like that was classic Timberwolves, classic blown.
Classic Rubio.
We're doing good. Cat's hot. You think we're gonna feed Cat every single time. So we're up 1 at this point.
Yep.
Ricky Rubio, who had a good game, by the way, besides the fourth quarter. Like
Well,
he
he
was
always
hitting a lot
does
of
this.
shots. He always does
Let us
this.
just tell me he has a good game. He always has to. Oh, Ricky had a good game, but he blew
But
it.
he took a one-legged floater, and the Knicks get the rebound, and I think we fouled Julius Randle, if I'm correctly. We fouled him. They took the 1-point lead.
Actually,
What happened after that? How do we? Because there was another possession before Ricky Rubio dribbling all around.
So
What shot? It was the cat floater.
It was a good shot. Like
It was a
I'll
good
give him
shot.
that shot. But if you look at it closely, the double team came and Beasley was wide open for a three.
And I'm gonna live with a cat double
Yeah,
team shot because Malik's kind of been pissing me off in fourth quarters too lately when he takes those crazy threes when we really just need a quick two.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at this point we're down by 4, I think, with like 20 seconds left. So there's we hit a 3 and we play the foul game and hopefully get another shot at tying the game. At least have a shot at tying the game. I think it was very plausible that we could hit a 3 in that situation, but Ricky Rubio decides out of a timeout. So I don't know if this was Ryan or Ricky or a combo of both.
I think Ryan was just kind of like, I'm out of here anyway. Why not just give it to Ricky and see what happens?
Ricky dribbles in a full circle for 12 seconds of the game clock. So think about this. He's dribbling the ball up the court. He curves all the way around the basket up to the top again, hands it to Jaden McDaniels at the free throw line, and he's like, okay, I got to shoot. There's 5 seconds left in the game. So he shoots and obviously misses because it's a terrible shot. And I'm just
Ricky was
astounded. Like
yelling at him.
I couldn't believe what just happened.
He was such a bad. Okay, but what happened? When did Ricky shoot free throws? I think we missed that.
Oh, we missed him. So that's the thing. It wouldn't have been a 4-point game because Ricky took a horrible shot. Luckily, it was a foul. I don't even think it was a foul on the play. But that was before the cat took the floater.
Okay, and he missed one
Wait,
free throw.
no. Yes, that was
We got to get the game log up because I don't want to mess this up. Because last time we messed it up and people are calling us out.
Yes, but there was a point where Ricky it was only a 2. He could have made it a 1-point game, but he missed a free throw, so it was a 2-point game.
Okay, and then
that's when Randall got fouled, I think.
Yep. So
and
this
was a 4-point game.
I think this was after the cat.
You know what? Let me pull.
You pull it up, man. I don't want to sound.
I don't want to get this wrong, but we have all the moving pieces. It's just putting them together.
It's hard for us because we're not. Well, you got to give us a break because we couldn't even.
This happens every game.
Well, no, and it's because it's after the. So let me just tell you what I think happened, and if I'm right, then you give me some credit in the comment section. But so this is what I think happened. I think Rubio. So I think Cat missed his shot, and then we came out of a timeout. Rubio went up, got fouled, and so we were only down by 3 at that point. So we could have taken a 3, but Rubio went in for the quick 2. Gets fouled, makes the first, misses the second, go down. Julius Randle gets fouled by Cat, I think, for his 5th foul. Makes them both down by 4. Timeout. Rubio dribbles around in circles, passes it to McDaniels, chucks up a terrible shot, and then proceeds to yell at McDaniels at half court, and then we lose the game. That's what I think.
Okay, so this is what happens. So at this point, the score of the game is 98-101, the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky Rubio goes down, takes the crazy floater shot, the one that he got fouled on. So Ricky, okay, now an ad just popped up. So I'm, give me a sec here. Give me a sec.
Here's dropping the ball. Classic.
There's an ad. Where is this even playing? Okay, paused. So this is what happens. So Ricky Rubio gets fouled. He hits the first free throw and misses the second free throw. So the game score is 99-101. The Knicks are winning.
Yep.
So Julius Randle, or no, it was Alex Burks. So we have to foul at this point, right? Because there's 12 seconds left. Alex Burks goes to the line. He's a great free throw shooter, 90%, knocks down both of them. So the game score is 99-103. And that's when we called the timeout, and then Ricky dribbled around and then gave it to Jaden McDaniels for a 22-foot pull up. We missed. That's the end of the game.
So yeah, did you see Rubio yelling at McDaniels after the game?
I did see that, and I was very mad about that.
Yeah, because I'm like, why are you going to yell at him when you literally handed him a ticking time bomb?
You handed him a hot potato.
Have you ever played catchphrase?
No, I haven't.
So it's a game where it's like charades, but you can't use you can't do actions. So you have to guess. You're in a circle and you have to guess out like a word. You have a team, so it's like beeping, and there's a timer, and you have to pass it to the next person.
Yeah.
And so when it goes off, whoever's holding it, that team loses. Kind of like that. So like it was like beep, 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 and then he just handed it to McDaniels, and of course he's gonna like shoot a terrible shot.
He's a rookie too. He's not gonna think about like there's 5 seconds left. You can't even do anything.
No,
like you have to shoot it. You can't.
It was honestly the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
So Jaden McDaniels made the right decision.
Yeah, whatever.
Like I like that was so that like if the game before wasn't the game that got Ryan fired,
Ryan would have been, his ass would have been fired after that.
Dude, like that was the worst play sequence I've ever seen in late game, and they've had some bad ones.
And the funny
that
thing
was
is,
terrible.
The funny thing is, I had no confidence that we'd win that game. Even when we're up by one, even when we're up by a few in the fourth quarter, I'm like, yeah, we're gonna lose this game.
Yeah, that was.
I'm happy.
You know, I wasn't even mad.
I wasn't either. I was like, I'm like, fine. Like that's just we're honestly just entertaining at this point on how you can lose a game.
I was so Peyton and I like we're so used to this now that we like usually don't get too mad after they lose because they do it like every game. But I don't know why the Pacers game, I was so pissed. Like whether it was Anthony Edwards' shot or it was us just losing it, because I knew we were going to lose in overtime. So I'm like, this is stupid. Like,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
now like we're revitalized, man. There's a new energy, I think, around this team.
new energy, but it just sucks that like this is not the year.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
we've
dude, like,
been
so the greatest case scenario here is Chris Finch comes in, wins 2 games for every 1 loss. We go 500 and we somehow make a 9th or a 10th seed. If he does that, he's the savior. Obviously we don't expect him to do that
but
because
it's a
he's
possibility.
it's a possibility, but he is coming into
The
the
dumpster.
worst team in the NBA right now. Their confidence is low. He's got to find a way to, get some positives, win some games.
I could see it, dude. Honestly, like this could be the year.
I mean,
Realistically,
like, dude, who's gonna win? Like, I Ryan's got to be the worst coach in the NBA, right?
he's not a head coach anymore. He was the worst head coach in the NBA, and I mean, yeah, it sucks for him, but
But we're happy now, I guess.
everyone's happy. This is a great day
So
to be alive.
our opinions on Ryan were we were very empathetic towards Ryan, and then I think it was a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago, there was a game I got so fired up about that I put out a fire Saunders tweet.
Yeah, you said
And I
he's been
broke
fired
our
so much.
opinion, so I had to. Peyton told me, like, yeah, you put it out, you have to roll with it. So
Yeah.
I was rolling it with it for the last week and a half, I guess.
Yeah, I wasn't a big Saunders guy because I don't think anyone was a
In the
big
right
Saunders
mind
guy.
is.
But like I
That's
was
Day
just
Moore.
yeah, Dane Moore is a big Saunders guy. He doesn't like to admit it, but he is a big Saunders guy. But for me, I'm just like I can't blame him because like he's just in a terrible situation. But the basketball mind in me comes out, and sometimes I'm just like, this guy is just not
There's just no offense sometimes.
well, and just like some of the smart stuff that like I love. That's what I love about basketball. I love the little like hidden rules that like coaches exploit, like what they were talking about with the free throws last game.
Yeah.
Like how they do a sub between free throws to ice the shooter at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Or like Tibbs when his player fouled out, he took because you get a minute after your player fouls out. A lot of people don't know this. You get 1 minute to decide who
Who comes in? And
who comes in.
Nerlens Noel was standing on the court for a minute
Because you
straight.
can do that. And you can do that at any level of basketball. If you're a fifth grade basketball coach watching this and one of your players fouls out, you can do that. And the refs probably won't even know what you're doing, but you can actually do that. So, like, that's the stuff that I love about basketball. I was talking about it this morning actually with one of my good buddies. And so there's a play if you're inbounding the ball on like a full court press or under the basket, you're
Run the baseline.
one of your teammates can come out of bounds, can run out of bounds parallel to you, and you can pass the ball to them, and then you can step out and they can pass it back to you.
Yeah, and you can
That's
also
legal.
run the baseline. Like, there's a ton
Yeah,
of stuff.
and like so if someone crosses the line, like the baseline, like the invisible wall, it's a technical foul. So if you're getting pressed and you run out of bounds and they pass it to you, but your defender crosses the line, that's a technical, and you get 2 shots and the ball.
Yeah,
And like that's
it's
just the
it's
stuff
it's
I
a
never
crazy
saw
rule, man.
from. That's the stuff I never saw from Ryan, and I love that stuff.
And I love just like because the Raptors did this to us a lot, where there just be like just a bunch of movement from the offense, and then some guy gets wide open under the
Yep.
basket and they score an easy layup. And then I go back and I rewind and I watch the play and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at all the back screens, look at all the
Yeah.
flares, look at everything they just did to get a free bucket. Like, that is something I this is so sad. But when's the last time you guys have seen like a bucket that was just free? Like, we've
Never.
just had a wide open cutter.
Never. We
I
never.
don't,
Nothing's easy with this team.
and we need some easy buckets.
Every team gets easy buckets. That's how you win games. That's how you pull away is by getting easy buckets. And like another thing I was saying, like I don't know, I don't think I was actually talking about Ryan Saunders. I was talking about a different head coach that I'm not going to name, but I just don't think he's a great head coach. But I was at the end of a game, you should have 6 plays at least, depending on where the ball is, who's hot that game, that you can just pull out and draw up, and you don't need to be like you should always have these plays just drawn up, and there should be in your back pocket, and you should have these set plays work that can get a shot at least at the end of a game. And I just don't see that with Ryan. I don't see that with a lot of coaches, and that's just really frustrating for me because that's just so simple.
It's just really confusing when you have a really hot player and then he doesn't touch the ball for the rest of the game, or doesn't even take a shot in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and
And that's
another thing I want to see with this guy is I don't want to see these stupid robotic schedules of substitutions. I want them to be more like the Pacers where
fluid,
it's
man.
actually
Fluid.
human basketball. If a player's playing well, you keep them in the game. And if someone's playing bad, you take them out of the game. And you don't have
And
to
you
go
you
on
can
these stupid
it's
schedules.
allowed it's allowed to play the bench with the starters. It's not a
It's not
unwritten rule
Kentucky.
that you can't do that.
It's not a Carl Anthony Towns Kentucky team. Remember when they did the platoon?
Yeah.
They had
That
such a good team
oh
that they just
gosh,
had two
man.
even platoons. I think they had Booker and Towns. But like this is the NBA. You can play Beasley with the second unit. You can play Anthony Edwards with the second unit. It's okay.
Yeah. I mean we've been rambling on for a little bit, so we can close it up here, but it's an exciting time, to hopefully see some wins.
End of an era, man. End of an era. Start of a new era. Trust the process. Thank you guys for watching. And this will be available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And if you guys are interested in us having it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, it'd be nice to know that because we do have to pay a little fee every month. And if it's not really like something that's catching interest, like just for now, I guess we probably won't keep doing that. But if it's something that you guys want us to keep doing, we'll for sure keep it up. So it'd be nice to kind of know that. But thanks for watching, guys. It's kind of a bittersweet end to an era, end to losing in the fourth quarter, and we're just looking forward.
See you guys later.